Yes, you've guessed it. I'm standing here with Mr. Danny Fairbrass from Corda Technologies right here in South Africa at Donaldson Top Lake.
Yes.
Welcome here, and thank you very much for having the opportunity to chat to you.
It's a pleasure, it's a pleasure.
Well, we watched you doing a whole bunch of things now.
Yeah.
Very interesting, and I noticed a couple of things.
Basically, I'm using a sinking braided line. Problem here is there's mitten crabs, and if you use monofilament, they just bite through it, the bobbin just drops back, and you've lost everything. So you have to fish braided line, you have to get it very wet. I'm fishing against the line clip, so it goes out a certain distance, hits the clip, you see that dropping down. So it's very accurate. I'm dropping in the same place every single time, baiting in the same place every time. But because we brought all our own rods and reels, normally they supply them here, but I like fishing with my own stuff.
Of course,
you know.
yeah.
So because we brought all of that, we're limited on the number of rods. Normally I'd have a rod with a marker float on it as well, separate.
Yes, yes.
But I'm having to cut the rigs off, put a marker float on, put that out, canoe out, put a lot of bait out very quickly, rather than using the throwing stick. When we first arrived, the general way to fish here, all the locals, the way the locals fish, they row across to the far side of a heavy lead, drop the rig right next to the reeds,
Yeah.
all the way back, and that's what they do. They've got 4 spots like that, and we started like that. We weren't comfortable, it's not our way of fishing. We like fishing from the bank. And the following morning I was up at first light, as I always am, and saw some fish showing, just heads coming out down the centre sort of strip of the lake. So I had one rod already reeled in, fish showed, I casted it, stopped it just as it hit the surface, and you basically feel the lead hit the bottom. So the lead swings towards you on a tight line. As it hits the bottom, it tells you what the bottom's like. So a soft thud is just like firm sort of mud or silt. You know, I basically just brought all the other long range rods back to that same distance where I'd seen the fish, and then the run started. Yeah, I've got a flying back lead on, so that comes back, that sits above the anti-tangle system. That comes back about 5 metres, something like that, so that pins the last bit down. And because it's braided line and it's going to be cutting right through the middle, I'm pinning it to the bottom with another back lead. One, that means the fish find it much harder to see because it's pinned along the bottom. And 2, when I'm playing fish, the fish can charge around above all the other lines and hopefully not come into contact with it. Now you're here, it'll probably happen, but it hasn't happened so far. I fish where the fish are. If we could catch them down there, 2 metres out, that's where I'd be fishing. That's where they wanted to be. But because I've been seen on DVDs and stuff a lot, fishing at distance, I mean that's not distance, that's 96 yards where I'm fishing now.
Yes.
That's, for me, that's not a long way.
And you just watch the water for activity to decide more or less.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a human dynamo when I'm fishing. We say sleep when you're dead. You know, if you're out here, you've done a long journey, you're at a special lake once every 3 or 4 years, then you make the effort, well I make the effort and make the most of it. So first light I'm up, and they always show at first light. It's first light when the fish show you where they've been the night before, where they've been feeding. And unless you're fishing on top of feeding fish, what's the point being there?
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it. The problem solving bit of it I really like, you know, and I've always, you know, fished alongside good anglers, and you learn from other people the more you do it. And it's just my way, it's how I get my enjoyment out of fishing. Some people like just sitting back and drinking a beer and doing nothing. That's great. If that's how you enjoy it, that's great. I love putting as much effort in as possible and catching as many fish as possible. That's my way of enjoying it. So it doesn't look very relaxing when I'm doing it, but that is me relaxing, you know.
And Bernay, our Corda ambassador, is going to ask some technical questions.
Cool.
And thank you very much for that.
Pleasure.
Thanks for the time.